What's done in the shadows always comes to light. And with this week's Scorpio full moon, everything that is shadowy, submerged, and secret is being fully revealed. Hi, my name is Haley Comet. This is Magic Monday, particularly your Magic Monday astrological forecast for the week of May 12th until May 18th, 2025. All of the astrological events that you can expect this week. And what we do on Magic Monday is how it is that you can co-create with the cosmos. I'm a firm believer that when it comes to astrology, it's a tool. It's a way to track energetics and themes that we can experience, but we are the creators of our own reality. We are the center of our own universe. And within Magic Monday, we talk about how to utilize the astrology as a tool, how to co-create with the cosmos in order to live your most magical, your most aligned life. And when it comes to this week's astrology, we start off with a bang. We have a Scorpio full moon on Monday, May 12th. And the moon, as you may know, is in its fall in Scorpio. And so there's elements of this full moon that can be quite uncomfortable and quite shocking. This full moon opposes Uranus, which jolts the cosmos with this electric frequency of the unexpected, the spontaneous, the surprise. And so there could be certain things that come to light that you were not anticipating nor expecting. Now, for some of us, could this absolutely show up in the form of a message? We have two Mercury aspects this week, Mercury squaring Pluto, Mercury squaring Mars. Absolutely. There could be something that is told to you, some sort of news that catches you by surprise around, okay, that was not on my May 2025 bingo card. There could be certain events, even if it's not a message, things that kind of throw you off balance, that disrupt your equilibrium. There could even be aspects of yourself, aspects of your subconscious mind, the crevices of your psyche that comes to light. Once you know something, you can't unknow it. And once you see something within a certain perspective, you cannot go back to your original frame of mind. Uranus is that awakening energy around maybe even having a secret bubbling up from your own inner reservoirs of your own mind that allows you to see something differently. Something where it's like, oh, it's always been there, hasn't it? Beneath the surface. But there could be something that's like pushed up from your subconscious mind into your conscious mind that makes it so clear how what was done in the darkness, what was pushed into the shadows of your own mind could have been leaking and infecting other arenas of your life without you even fully being aware of it. And while it can be unsettling to have certain things bubble to the surface, Scorpio full moon, uncomfortable emotions, as I highlighted. And sometimes it's uncomfortable to check under the bed. Did any of you fear monsters under your bed when you were younger? A lot of times we can lie in bed and rather than check, because that's terrifying, because what if there was a monster there with big eyes staring at us? Rather than checking under the bed, we just stay under our covers in fear. And that's not a very restful state to sleep during, this state of fear that at any moment a scary monster with tentacles and fur could slither out from underneath the bed and lead to our own demise. No, we couldn't possibly look though and give ourselves that relief, because what will we find? And so it can be easier to either try to convince ourselves there's no monsters under the bed, or just to live in that state of fear around this is scary, but that's scarier. So I'd rather not check. And sometimes we do that just with our own emotions, or with even suppressed memories or certain things that we know that we need to work on, or that we know that we need to transform. It's easier to stay in that state of fear, even paranoia with Mercury squaring Pluto this week, rather than to look, to check the darkness underneath the bed, to check the shadowy crevices of what it is that we are trying not to think about or trying not to face. The very nature of Scorpio excavates to the very depth. And sometimes you're surprised by what you find within those depths. Yes, we could have our equilibrium disrupted with opposition to Uranus, but with the trine to Saturn, there can be an opportunity to re-find our center, to bring ourselves back into balance, to allow ourselves to summon all of the courage that we possibly can to peek under the bed and to be able to move forward. And again, I'm sure when we were younger, there weren't actually monsters under the bed, but there can be something that you are facing, a metaphorical monster where there are big googly eyes looking at you. There is something uncomfortable where it's like, oh, okay, well, now I see this. And the invitation this week, if we are brave enough and bold enough to drive to the depths, to look at what may be uncomfortable, to bring to the surface what may have been submerged. With the trine to Saturn, it is helping you in moving forward. It is helping you to a more restful night's sleep because at least now you know, right? When something is pushed into the reservoirs of our subconscious around, I'm scared of this, but I don't want to check. What I don't know can't hurt me, but it festers in that darkness place, in what we don't want to look, what we don't want to know. Because oftentimes, knowing it means that we have to change something, or it means that we need to transform something. And sometimes we do this for our own self-protection, self-preservation, because we don't want to know just yet. But it puts us in this state of limbo and sometimes in this fearful state, this paranoid state, right? With Mercury squaring Pluto around those fears or the things that we don't want to look at or the things that we don't want to face. It just grows within the darkness. And as I stated earlier, sometimes it can leak to other territories within our life. Like if we are losing sleep because we are in the bed so scared of the monster that could be under, that lack of rest is going to impact your schooling and your friendships. It impacts many other layers. We tend to think out of sight, out of mind, or as long as I don't face it, is not real, but it is taking up residence within your psyche and within your subconscious. And there's an invitation this week to face something or to recognize something that, to be perfectly honest with you, might be a little uncomfortable. We have Mercury in Taurus squaring Pluto on the same day this full moon, and then Mercury squaring Mars as we move towards the weekend. And if you know about Mars and Pluto energy, it's a little uncomfortable sometimes. There could be some conflict. This could be us fighting with ourselves. This could be us fighting with the monsters. This could be us fighting something else within our life. But there could be some conflict present this week. There could be some fear, paranoia present this week with the Mercury square Pluto energy. And there also just could be unexpected, surprising events that temporarily make you feel very out of control or kind of bring you into this crisis state. But we are in Taurus season, and there's always an opportunity to ground ourselves down. There's always an opportunity, with Scorpio being a very resilient, regenerative sign, there's always an opportunity to begin again, to find your center when life throws you a curveball, to still hit it out of the park. I don't know where the baseball analogy came from, but we will dive so much deeper into this astrology. I mean, it's a Scorpio full moon. We got to go deep. We got to go deep with it, and we're going to need a delightful beverage in order to do so. So take a step inside my cosmic cafe, my loves. What are you sipping on? To step into this week, to step into this astrology, what refreshment are you indulging in? Coffee, tea? I'm drinking one of my faves. I've been really serving up in the Cosmic Cafe this Taurus season, my tried and trues. Last week it was my favorite coffee drink. Today it's my favorite juice. It's my purple cabbage pineapple juice. So good for the skin, so good for the gut. But my favorite gift that juicing gives me is that it just makes me happy. Something about sipping fruits and vegetables just makes me happy, just improves my mood so much. And thank God for that, because you don't want to know who I was just a mere hour ago. I don't know her. I don't want to know who she was. I made this juice and my mood turned around amazingly. So shout out to purple cabbage and pineapple juice. So this is my second cup. They're small cups. So I consumed a juice as I was setting up, hence the improvement in my mood. And thank goodness for that. And some of us could have some of that this week, to be perfectly honest. Scorpio is an energy that can be associated with extremes. And as we know with full moons, it could be a time of emotions heightening. And some of those emotions that may be surfacing or illuminating along with that big, beautiful moon may be a little extreme. Now, for some of us, this could be feeling the heights of passion and depth and empowerment. But for some of us, there could be some funks. There could be some funks to be had, feeling a little bit more destructive, feeling a little bit more moody, feeling a little bit more negative, feeling a little bit more poisonous even. Like when you're in such a bad mood that you just feel like you're poisoning the environment around you, there may be some moments of that. And some of you may know that my progressed moon has entered Scorpio. So I've been learning how to Scorpio moon. It's not my natal moon, it's just my progression. And something that I've noticed, only being a couple months into this, is that there definitely is intensity of emotion, but I've kind of loved it because it's very intense and it's very directed. Where yes, I've definitely observed a lot more singularity within what it is that I'm feeling, or a lot more extremes in what it is that I'm feeling, just within day to day around. If I'm in a funk, I'm in like the funkiest funk. Or if I'm very joyful and happy and grateful, I am really joyful and happy and grateful. It's like really provided this kind of focused stream of emotion, which absolutely on the funky side of it could be quite intense. But I've liked it because my natal moon is Virgo. So typically it's how I process emotion is very neurotic and very much around reasoning and very much around, should I be feeling this way? Does it make sense? And my progressed moon in Scorpio has taught me to just allow the emotion, even if it's intense, to move through, trusting that it will pass. And if I'm in a funk, to like really be in that funk and see it through and trust that things will shift gears. And that might be important as we build to the Scorpio full moon, allowing yourself to feel what is coming up and then coming back to a focus point is important, because there comes to be a point in time when entertaining a certain emotion is indulgence. Again, see it through, allow yourself to be funky, allow yourself to feel a little poisonous, but there comes to be a point in time when you recognize this is more destructive rather than it is constructive. And checking in on that and refocusing on the focal point around, okay, we felt that, and then where are we directing our energy? And that's going to be important with this week's Mercury square Pluto. So that's what I've learned from my progressed moon in Scorpio thus far. I would love to know if any of you follow your progressions. What's your current progressed moon in? Have you observed that there's a new tone within how it is that you process emotions? I would love to know. Comment below. But let's go ahead and take it back to this week's astrology and take it into our vibe check of the week. So if you're a regular within my cosmic corner of the internet, welcome back. Good to see you. And you know the drill. Vibe Check of the Week is the segment here on Magic Monday where we take all of the celestial events of this week's astrology and compare it to a real life scenario. This is meant to get your wheels turning around how this astrology may surface within real life. It's essentially a way that we bring the cosmos back down to earth to give you a situation around, hey, this might be some of the themes that you experience, maybe in a different arena of life, maybe within someone that you know, but here's what a full moon in Scorpio, Mercury squaring Pluto, Mercury squaring Mars sort of week would look like. And sorry if this is shifting a little bit, everything just looks crooked to me today. I'm just crooked, I think. I just can't get this right. So I'm so sorry if this week's forecast is a little crooked. I suppose that's appropriate with the full moon in Scorpio opposing Uranus, right? Uranus as the planet is on its side. So maybe it aligns that I'm a little crooked myself, or at least it looks like I'm crooked. I do want to say thank you guys for bearing with me with the current technical setup that I have. I am so pleased to report that I am finally upgrading my life. Thank God, and thank you to the people who have just been like rocking with me with this not great setup. I am happy to report that we're moving on up, baby. We are moving on up. I've finally upgraded my equipment. As soon as I figure out how to use it, my loves, the cosmic corner of the internet's getting an upgrade. We love it. It's transforming. Full moon in Scorpio in my third house. It makes sense. But back to the point. Crooked camera and all. This week's astrology feels like there is a sector of your home that you do not go to. We'll say for the sake of the vibe check that it's the basement. You do not go down to the basement. And anything that you don't want to deal with, you push down into the basement. So when your lamp broke and you were too lazy to go and try to get it repaired, you just kind of pushed it down there because you're like, I don't want to donate it, but I don't have the energy at this point in time to get it fixed, or I don't know how to fix it, or I'm missing this particular part. So I'm just going to push it down to the basement. Maybe you purchased a typewriter and you had this vision that you're going to write all your poetry on this typewriter, but it jammed and you just haven't summoned the energy within yourself to fix it. Or maybe there's more layered belongings down there. Maybe when one or both of your parents passed away and you got a lot of their stuff, you didn't know what to do with it. So you just kind of like pushed it down into the basement, out of sight, out of mind. And so we'll say that you start to have some electrical issues in your home. To be perfectly honest, you've been having some electrical issues within your home, but you were ignoring it, right? Avoiding it, not wanting to deal with it. And in that space of avoiding it and ignoring it, that gave your mind the clearance to run rampant with different theories around there's mice and they're chewing all the electrical cords, or this may signal a much bigger problem, a problem that I cannot afford to have at this point in time. And so we'll say that you have a blackout, like all of the lights within the home goes out and all of the electric goes down within the home. Like you've experienced it within different sectors of your home, but we'll say on one fateful day, you are in utter darkness. And trust me, you want to, in that moment, go out and just get battery-powered lights and just pretend like it's not a problem, but also take down your oven. You're not able to charge your phone, things like that. So you're like, I've got to go down to the breaker box. I've got to like push past all of the junk that lives down in the basement in order to hopefully reset the power and bring it back. So you do find a flashlight and you do push by the rummage that exists down there. And lots of it bring up certain emotions within you. Looking at that lamp that you never fixed feels like an embodiment of your laziness around, dear God, like how have you not just taken the time to go get this lamp fixed? Like what is wrong with you? And then when you push by the typewriter, it feels like an embodiment, a material embodiment of the fact that you have not been writing your poetry lately and that you had these dreams of becoming this poet and writing it on this typewriter that you have forgotten, and a typewriter that you have abandoned. And as you go through your late father's possessions, your late mother's possessions, the things that you haven't gone through because it just feels so painful and you're just not there with your grief, you just feel those waves of grief all over again and just wonder if they're disappointed in you that you have not gone through your mother's jewelry and your father's memorabilia, finding ways to honor it and maintain it in a setting other than gathering dust within the basement. And so that hits you with waves of grief, yes, but also guilt and shame around how long it's been at this point. And finally, you make it to the breaker box. And at this point, you're just feeling the heaviness of both the blackout, because there's also a feeling around maybe if I would have gotten this electrical issue solved before, the entire power grid of the house wouldn't have gone down. Like again, adding to those feelings of guilt and shame and beating yourself up. And when you get to the breaker box, you reset it. And when you know it, let there be light. The light comes back on radiantly, and that helps dispel those fears within you around this signals that the electrical has been damaged to such a point that it can never come back, and that I let things get to this point and it's leading to this house's decay, and the mice are just having a field day chomping through all of the wire, damaging the electric beyond repair. Like this helps to alleviate those worries. And in this point of illumination, because now the light is back, the power is back, you have a choice point. I can just go back to how I was living before, just ignoring the lamp, ignoring the typewriter, ignoring my parents' stuff, ignoring this electrical issue, or I can build upon this momentum that I've created in order to keep going. Maybe take this step to call an electrician, to have someone come out and to investigate the electric, to figure out if there is an issue. Because perhaps there's nothing, right? It's just an old house. The electrician's like, yeah, you'll just have to flip the breaker every so often. That peace of mind is priceless. You might have had to pay the electrician. That might have been a price you had to pay. But peace of mind is priceless because you don't have this fear looming within your mind around, what if it's mice? What if it's rats? What if it's this? What if it's that? I don't want to deal with all of that, so I'd rather push it down. And maybe that momentum helps you in other ways where you start to deal with some of the stuff in the basement. It's uncomfortable. It's hard. It's hard to make the call to the electrician. It's hard to find someone who could fix your lamp or to dust off your typewriter or to go through your parents' belongings. These are hard things, but you are strong. The Scorpio full moon is asking you to remind yourself just how powerful you are, just how resilient you are. And maybe for some of us, you call electrician comes out, maybe there is an issue, but at least you know. Like with Mercury and Taurus, when we're dealing with things that are more tangible and practical around this is the issue and this is how you solve it. And maybe there's a certain price tag where it's like, oh, okay, that's a little uncomfortable, but at least I know. At least I'm not leaking out all this energy towards the potentials and possibilities that keep me up at night around, it could be this or this. At least I know that it's this. And there might be certain objects, items within your mom's belongings, dad's belongings that are really challenging to deal with or to look at. There could be questions you have. Do I release this, find another owner for it? Do I keep it? Do I rehabilitate it in some way? The same questions may surface with the typewriter and the lamp. It's not to say that this is easy, but there is an ask to really ground ourselves amidst the fear spirals and the paranoia, really, with the Mercury square Pluto energy, because your mind could be playing tricks on you. I always say, don't believe your mind and what it tells you, like in the middle of the night. Like if you ever have a hard time sleeping, you just don't see things clearly in the dark. You just don't. Your fears have the space to dance on the precipice of your mind and convince you of all sorts of things, that it's a bad life and you're a horrible person. There's all of these things to feel guilty about, or there's all of these possibilities for the future that could spell out doom and disaster. There's an energy this Taurus season to really ground ourselves down, to recognize when our mind is getting away from us, and to contemplate what's one thing I can do to shift my focal point in a new direction. My focal point can be destructive around how I'm a horrible person and I should be feeling very guilty and shameful for these belongings that I've just kind of pushed down in aspects of my life that I haven't wanted to deal with. But is that a helpful focal point? Like, let me take my mind back to a more constructive direction. Scorpio is represented by the scorpion, which has that stinger, right? And sometimes we could draw that stinger towards ourselves or destroy ourselves with our own mind, with the Mercury squaring Pluto energy around, I'm the worst, it's all over for me, this is all doom and disaster, I let this electrical problem get out of control, mice and rats are having a field day, chewing through all the cords as we now speak. Or we could tilt that stinger out into the world, not stinging people. Avoid stinging people, though some people might be a little harsh with their words this week. Out into the world around, how can I be direct? How can I solve this? Or how can I move my focus and my energy in a direction that's more constructive? It's not that it's going to be easy. There's problems to solve. There's arenas to fix. There's uncomfortable discussions to be had, potentially for some of us, but moving in a direction. Because this may not show up for you around basements and belongings that you don't want to deal with. Things that you're like, I don't know if I should donate it. I don't know if I should keep it. I'm in limbo, right? Being in limbo is not where we thrive as human beings. Because to be in limbo can signify that there's kind of like this stuck energy, or just feeling like in this purgatory around, I'm not here, but I'm not there. And when you're not here, you're not there. It's like you're nowhere, right? You're with the typewriter, like, do I donate it? Do I keep it? You're with the lamp. Do I try to fix it? Do I release it? And when you're just in that in-between space, it's hard to like move forward when you're in that in-between. And if that doesn't show up with belongings for you, that could show up within a certain change that you want to make within your world, or change within yourself, where it's like, to change would be scary, to stay is not satisfactory. So I'm in this in-between. I'm in this in-between. And when we're in that in-between, there could be a temptation to avoid, right? To try to go around it. But there's an invitation this week, whether it's within your own subconscious, whether it's within your relationship, within your job, your finances, what have you. There's an invitation this week to really get real with yourself and to go into the depths that might be a little scary to acknowledge. To really look at those monsters under the bed that you could have been running from eye to eye. Because for a lot of us, there's going to be recognition around, oh, there was no monster under the bed. Like there was no monster under the bed. There was nothing to really fear. Or some of us might be eye to eye with a scary monster who has little horns. There might be something where it's like, oh, there is an electrical issue. Or, oh, this is part of my healing that I've not wanted to look at. But at least you're conscious of it. At least you're conscious of it. And the only way out is through. The only way out is through. And going through it is hard. It's challenging. There's things down the basement that are uncomfortable to look at. There's things within your mind that might be uncomfortable to look at. Your relationships, your finances, wherever this shows up. But the only way that you can kind of direct that stinger out into the world and genuinely move forward towards transformation, towards change, if that is something that you are desiring, is to go through it. And not try to seek an escape route or an easier route, but just to look that monster square in the eyes and to find a way to defeat said monster or to get to the other side of it, because you will get to the other side of it. It requires courage, it requires fearlessness, but you've got this. This week's astrology is supporting you with this. So we're going to go ahead and take it into our day-by-day analysis. I want to let you know that because I'm located in California, when I share my horoscopes, I always do so from the time zone PDT. So please adjust to your local time zone when I mention when these transits take place, as they may land for you on a different day, a different time than the one that I state. I also want to let you know there are timestamps below should you feel called to jump to a particular day, jump back to a particular day. But let's go ahead and take it into the astrology for Monday, May 12th. So happy Monday, May 12th, and happy full moon in Scorpio. Rise and shine, it's Scorpio full moon time. This lunation lands at 9:56 a.m. PDT. And it may bring about something unexpected, something surprising, such as the nature of Uranus, is that it tends to throw a wrench in things. Things unfold in a different way than we were anticipating them to unfold. And this can be something delightful about this experience, is that we don't always know where the plot line is going. We don't always know what exactly will happen. Again, we can have that singularity of focus and intention and goal, but sometimes there's surprising pivots in the journey. And some of these surprises are more delightful than others. Like for some of us, there can be a bill that you were not anticipating around, whoa, why was our water bill this much this particular month? Or maybe for some of you, it shows up in a different way around there's a technical issue, there's an electrical issue, there's something where a wrench is thrown in your day around you were just trying to go to work, but then you witnessed people in front of you have a car accident. Now you have to be a witness to this, and it's delaying your plans of how you thought your Monday was going to unfold. Or you could be just trying to go to your meeting, but you recognize when you're stuck in traffic on your commute how desperately you need to use the restroom. So you have to take a random exit, find a donut shop, have a little detour to use the restroom, grab a donut before you're on your way. Like there just could be certain pivots. We cannot expect nor prepare for everything in life. That makes me uncomfortable as a natal Virgo moon, but sometimes things just catch us by surprise. We can have our plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D, plan E, but life will sometimes throw us a curveball where that's not even something that we could have prepared for or could have planned for in the slightest. And all we can do is take it in stride. You know, it's Taurus season. All we could do is take it one step at a time. There could be a tendency on Monday, to be perfectly honest with you, towards doom spiraling, around fearing the worst, assuming the worst, or going down a more destructive pivot around the water bill was outrageous and that's because my partner takes these really long baths, or what if it's a leak and now that's going to take a bunch more money to fix or something like that. Or you pull off the highway to go to the donut shop and when you get to work you're late and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get fired, and it's just because I had to use the restroom and there was like so much traffic. Like there just could be an energy where your mind could be getting away from you with the Mercury square Pluto from this change, from this disruption or something like this. Now, what I always say with Uranus is that sometimes Life is the Uranus. Life throws us something that we were not anticipating. We saw a car accident on our way to work and now we have to be a witness. We had to use the restroom on our journey to work. We got a bill that we were not expecting. Like sometimes life is the Uranus. But sometimes we are the Uranus. Like we throw the curveball at life. Sometimes we disrupt. Sometimes we shake things up. Sometimes we are the change. Uranus energy can sometimes bring about this energy of restlessness. And the Scorpio full moon could be bringing to the surface this desire to evolve, to transform, to shake something up. Like you may feel this building energy around, it's time to do something different. You know, I've tried the way of just ignoring what's in the basement. I've tried the way of just going through the motions of doing this or that, and I'm ready for a change. I'm ready to do something different. And maybe for some of you that shows up in a little bit of a rebellious way to be like, all right, life, I see you. And you threw a curveball at me, but I'm gonna throw a curveball right back. So you may find that you do something erratic, that you do something unpredictable, that you're sick of the same old, like I'm ready for something different, actually. You never know when the day is going to come that you just see things differently and you have a different perspective. And so the encouragement would be, do allow for an element of surprise and spontaneity, allow for genius ahas and breakthrough moments, certainly, and also allow you to surprise you, because something could be comfortable but not serving you and serving your growth. Like two things can be true at once, where something could be comfortable, it's represented by the Taurus sun, and lovely, like your typical strategy within the vibe check around just pushing things into the basement. It was comfortable, right? Out of sight, out of mind. You got to keep your home beautiful and looking sparkly for the parts of it that you saw. Like it was comfortable to operate in that way, but comfortable and conducive for growth and evolution and transformation are not the same thing necessarily. So something could be comfortable but not serving you. And with this full moon opposing Uranus, there can be like this light bulb moment or just this aha around something is not serving me or serving my growth or serving my transformation. And growth and transformation is deeply uncomfortable. Like I said, the overall vibe this week is facing things that are uncomfortable. And sometimes we need those pivots, those unexpected bills, those unexpected detours to get us in the state of mind where we even contemplate a shift, a new perspective. And like I said, this full moon is both destabilizing and stabilizing because it opposes Uranus, which is things that catch us by surprise around, whoa, wasn't anticipating that. Surprises catch us off balance. It kind of knocks the wind out of us when we are surprised or shocked by something, where we witnessed the accident. We were not in it. It's still disruptive. It's still rattling. And the trine to Saturn asks us to refine our center, where certain experiences can take the wind out of us. It can throw us for a loop. It can surprise us. And taking that moment to bring yourself back into balance and then root into what is anchored. Because when we think about the Scorpio full moon opposing the Taurus sun, there can be certain elements of our life where we recognize there needs to be change or transformation here. But it's also important to tune into what within your life is solid and stabilizing and grounding. It's not saying we have to utterly disrupt everything at the same time. Or maybe even if you are going through massive changes, tuning into what remains consistent. Where maybe it's like you're moving, but you're still showing up for your morning meditation practice, or you're going through a breakup, but you still have certain friends that you can really trust or go to, or you're going through something tough within a friendship, but what it is that you're learning within your craft is really stabilizing and anchoring you. That might be something that helps bring you back into balance, where it's like, okay, dealing with these boxes down in the basement, calling up the electrician, this is uncomfortable. Give yourself the grace and the permission around, after you face the monsters under your bed or the things that might be a little uncomfortable to look at, giving yourself the space and the grace to tune into what nourishes you, what roots you, what anchors you, what pours back into you, and really what grounds you. So yes, there may be things that throw you for a loop on Monday. Feel it. find your footing and ground down in order to process it and deal with it. And what's very woven and significant within the Scorpio full moon is that within an hour of the lunation, Mercury in Taurus will square off with Pluto in Aquarius. And this was the energy that I was sharing around doom thinking, doom scrolling, doom spiraling, assuming the worst, being very fearful and paranoid. And there could be real or imagined threats to security that you're feeling at this moment in time with Mercury and Taurus squaring Pluto. Be very cautious with the rabbit holes that you go down on Monday, May 12th, because with Mercury squaring Pluto, this can be. It's not going to be the natural way that this energy shows up, but here on Magic Monday, we're really big on co-creating with the cosmos, seeing where it is that we can move these energies into something that works for us and with us. And with Mercury, Pluto, this is that invitation around the focus point, drawing yourself back to the focus point. Feel the feels, feel the grief with the Scorpio full moon, feel the intensity with the Scorpio full moon, feel the gut punch with the Scorpio full moon that takes the wind out of you around, whoo, okay, was not anticipating that, like feel it. But before you allow your mind to go overdrive around what this means, what's going to happen within the future, allow yourself to take yourself towards the focus point around, I cannot control the future, but what are some steps that I can do in order to support me right now? And to get to the root of things right now, because that's a gift of Mercury Pluto, is it could be very good at investigating, focusing around, okay, let me find an electrician and let me take the next step and let me get to the bottom of this, right? Let me dig deep. It can be our fears getting away from us, our mind getting away from us, our late night thoughts getting away from us. But it also can be us researching deeply into something, having a conversation and delving into the deeper layers. And with Mercury square Pluto, it's important to control the controllables and release the rest. We cannot control everything. See what you can do to put yourself in one step of a positive direction, to feel the emotions as they come up, but to bring your focus back to that focal point around, I could feel all of the feelings, all of the fear, all of the paranoia, all of the shame, all of the guilt, what have you. But what's one thing I can do to move myself in a more solid, a more grounded direction? And sometimes that's facing it, looking at the boxes, looking at the scary emotion, looking at that desire for change or for transformation, and seeing what's one thing I can do to put myself in a positive trajectory. I've shared with you all that I've been doing EMDR, which if you've done it, you know it's quite intense. And that there's moments of it that it feels bottomless and endless. And I really struggle with that as someone who I consider myself to be a very goal-oriented person who operates with deadlines. It's terrifying to me that there's no specific end date and ending time where I'll be through it. And sometimes when you're wading through the muck, looking through the boxes, diving into the things, it could feel like there's just more and more that comes up. Like you decide you're taking one step to look through the boxes, look through the belongings, and then you find there's so much more than you thought. And now it feels like it's never going to end. And sometimes when something feels like it's never going to end, we would rather just like turn away and just go back to avoiding it. But the only way out is through. And I had like just arbitrarily decided, I don't know, I'd arbitrarily decided, I was like, EMDR is a lot and I'm just ready to be through it. I'm ready to be through with it. So I was like, I'm just gonna like do whatever I can to just like muscle my way through it. But when it comes to emotional matters, psychological matters, the Scorpio full moon does highlight a lot of these. There's no fixed timeline. Like it takes the amount of time that it takes, and it takes the amount of fearlessness that it takes. Because sometimes it's scary to go deeper because it feels endless and bottomless. So it's like, will I ever get to the other side? But also there's uncomfortable boxes that I'm unpacking within my own mind, within my own subconscious. And sometimes Scorpio full moons and Pluto aspects, things can feel like they're a crisis. Something can feel like the end of the world. Even if you know rationally and logically it's not the end of the world. There are certain things within my life that are stabilized and grounded. There are certain things that anchor me. I am safe. That might even be a really helpful affirmation on Monday. I am safe. Even if you know that, it's different than feeling it. And sometimes, as minor or as major as it is, when there is something that catches us by surprise, it makes us feel unsafe. It makes us feel like we are in a crisis. It makes it feel like the end of the world. And it's important to know that you are not viewing things from the most rational perspective with Mercury square Pluto. You could be doom thinking, assuming the worst, being very obsessive, ruminating quite a bit. And so bring it back to the focus point, allow yourself to feel what is coming up, ground yourself, stabilize yourself, and let this Scorpio full moon remind you that you can always begin again, start again. Maybe you go through a couple of boxes and you need a moment to ground yourself and you go and do just that. It's not saying you have to do all of this in one day, right? But it is just deciding that you are fearless enough and strong enough to move towards this transformation and to live in your fullest power. On Tuesday, May 13th, after midnight, around 1:30 a.m., the moon enters Sagittarius. And if the Scorpio full moon was the darkest part of the night, the Sagittarius moon is the dawn. Like that first moment when you start to see the sun peek up over the horizon. That small glimmer, that small reassurance that everything is going to be okay, or that you are allowed to be optimistic or hopeful about a new beginning, a new start, a seamless resolution, a new exciting adventure, something like this. And this can show up in many different ways. You know, the Sagittarius moon does trine Neptune around 4:30 a.m. So you could get a kind of like a sign or synchronicity from spirit, where you're kind of going through it, but then you see the angel number of your birthday, or you got shocking news, but there's also just this like inner knowing that you are protected and that everything's going to be okay. Or when you pray, you just feel the presence of God, universe, spirit with you so strongly that lets you know you may be going on this adventure with the energy of Sagittarius moon, and that adventure could have detours and obstacles, you know, with yesterday's full moon opposing Uranus, but you are not going on it solo. Like, you are supported in the grander scheme of things. And there could be kind of a question and response dialogue happening within your mind, where you could have certain questions ignited within you around, am I strong enough to deal with this? Should I U-turn and go back? And if those questions come up, that's when you have the answer around, yes, I can, and yes, I will. And drawing your focus back to a certain focal point and moving within that certain direction. And with Mercury square Pluto, I spoke a lot about this in terms of us being destructive with ourselves, with our own language, breaking ourselves down with fears or paranoia. This could also represent other individuals being manipulative, maybe even cruel with their language, or saying things for the purpose of getting in our head, making us doubt ourselves, making us doubt our value with Mercury and Taurus. And it's important not to give these dynamics more energy than they deserve. Like, of course, it's human nature. If someone kind of gives you a compliment that kind of lands like an insult, of course, you're going to be left with questions and digging in around what did they mean by that? But do not leak your power out in directions that are not serving you, because the shadow side of this is that someone could go low with you and you decide to go lower, or somebody says something to you for the purpose of disrupting your own stability and making you question and doubt yourself. And you feed that more energy by questioning and doubting yourself and ruminating and things like this. And so really, especially with Pluto retrograde, really contemplate, where am I leaking my power out? And today's ask with the Sagittarius moon is, what is my North Star? What is my direction? Where can I have my eye on the prize? Where maybe this coworker is having some sneak disses, or maybe my partner is being quite manipulative with me, but what gives me a sense of faith? What is the vision that I'm moving towards? Because the Scorpio full moon could bring up a lot that feels like it's decaying, a lot that we are releasing, a lot that we are destroying and grieving, honestly. And it's not to say that this is not a part of life. It absolutely is. But with the Sagittarius moon, it's important to also tune into what is blooming, what is blossoming, what is growing, what direction you are heading into. Like, it could be all too easy to just stay in the rubble of the Scorpio full moon, to ruminate and obsess around, shoulda, woulda, couldas of the past, fears of the future, or just contemplation around how something feels like it is not steady, not certain, not grounded. But there's an invitation with the Sagittarius moon to move in the directions that give you a sense of faith around what you're moving towards. Because regardless of what in your life feels like rubble or what you are releasing or shedding, there is a dawn. Like the Sagittarius moon wants you to remind you that there is a dawn. There is new beginnings. There are new opportunities. There are glimmers of hope. There are ways that Spirit is connecting with you. And so the Sagittarius moon may give the collective a nice surge of optimism, and remembering the power that optimism gives you with the Sagittarius moon sextile Pluto in Aquarius at 9/11. And especially with Pluto retrograde, like remembering your resilience, how there's been other seasons of life that you may have questioned. Am I strong enough to handle this? Can I really go through these boxes? Can I really face this scary stuff? Can I really make this change within my life? And Pluto retrograde is this invitation. Remember the times that you've reinvented in the past. Remember the strength that you have built within the past. You didn't know if you were strong enough then too, and you were. And whatever feels challenging at this moment in time, it's trusting in your own strength that you'll be able to get through it. And remembering those past times, not to get stuck in the past, but more so as proof, a living testament to the strength that you have and the resilience that you have uncovered, which shows up in many dimensions. The first is deciding to keep going, but the second is deciding to still do so with a positive attitude or with excitement around a new horizon, a new day, a new dawn. This is a beautiful skill to chisel. And of course, it's subtle. It's a sextile. But in the morning time, there could be this energy around regeneration. And if you had scary late night thoughts the night before, maybe this weekend or something like this is the energy when you wake up and you recognize what felt so scary and life ruining and life ending at nighttime. In the morning time, now with light, you view things differently. That monster looks less scary. And the Sagittarius moon does trine Venus in Aries that evening at 7:48 p.m. So would be a lovely opportunity to maybe go somewhere new to eat. Taurus season, you know, it's about enjoying our physical senses. So maybe go somewhere beautiful and aesthetic with delicious food. And with the Sagittarius moon, maybe it's somewhere new or a new cuisine that you have not tried before. Or even if you're just cooking at home, maybe this is a new meal that you are taking on, a show that you are watching. Really honor the Taurus season desire to delight in the senses and the Sagittarius moon desire to explore and expand. On Wednesday, May 14th, the Sagittarius moon will trine Mars in Leo around 1 a.m. And so you absolutely could have felt this alive last night, and you may feel glimmers of it alive as you continue to navigate your Wednesday. And with the energy of the Sagittarius moon trining Mars in Leo, it's remembering who you are. And like I said, we do this by remembering who we've been and how we got through things that at the time we were like, I don't know how I'm gonna get through this. But you did, you persisted. And remembering that that makes you a baddie, okay? That makes you a baddie. Remember who you are. We all have events that throw us off kilter. We all have things that catch us by surprise. We all have moments where we doubt ourselves. We all have moments where we allow the fears to win, or even where we allow other people to get in our head and make us doubt and question ourselves. We all have those moments. And there's an ask, especially as we're recovering from the Scorpio full moon, to do the things that remind you how powerful and how strong you are. This is why I love working out, because it's a literal representation around we lift the heavy thing and we get stronger as a result. We push ourselves, and workouts should be challenging. Like, that's how we know that we are changing, is when it's challenging. But we feel the positive rewards from that around the mental knowledge around I did that, that was hard, and I got to the other side of it, as well as the physical manifestations around, gosh, there's a little muscle here that I didn't see prior, or gosh, my first Pilates class, I was not able to do a full teaser, and now I do it no problem with ankle weights. With ankle weights. Regardless if you work out or not, doing the hard thing is supportive for us. If we always go with what is comfortable, we will not grow. We will not grow. We will be complacent. And do not misunderstand me. It's Taurus season. Indulge, have the fuzzy blanket and the candle and the delicious food. Like, I'm not saying that we need to live an uncomfortable life, but if we always go by what's comfortable, it's comfortable to just act like the basement does not exist. It's comfortable to just take on my coworker's extra work rather than stick up for myself. What's comfortable is not always conducive for growth. And it's helpful for confidence to do the hard thing. That's where confidence blooms. It's not about being hot, being confident. It's not about even being talented. Confidence is the knowing that you will be the one to get you through anything. Through anything. It's trusting yourself. It's knowing that you've got you. That you got yourself through that tough workout, that you got yourself through that hard task of going through the basement, that you got yourself through EMDR, work in progress, okay, I'm working on it. It's knowing that if you got through that, you could get through this. And that's where confidence blooms, because the next time you meet something that is challenging or hard, you have the soul recognition, the soul muscle, so to speak, around knowing that the strength that you have. It's shifting our locus of control from the outer world to the inner world, where regardless of what throws me for a loop, what wrenches are thrown in the plan or in my day, I believe in me. I've been the one who's gotten me through the past, and I will be the one who gets me through this. And so it's welcoming the spirit of challenge. What doesn't challenge you will not change you. And I think with the Scorpio full moon starting off this week, I think a lot of us are craving and desiring change. So on Wednesday, if you get a business opportunity that kind of scares you a little bit, but thrills you and excites you a little bit, potentially say yes. If your boss asks if you will go to this particular conference and you're intimidated, you've never gone on a business trip, but something about it ignites you. If there is a Zumba studio that opens up that you want to go to, you're a little scared you're going to look dumb, but it excites you. This is an energy around saying yes, especially to the hard thing. So on Thursday, May 15th, you may wake up with this profound desire around, I just want to be free. I just want to be free. And feeling very suffocated by your responsibilities and your obligations. We start the day with a Sagittarius moon. It opposes who it's answering to, Jupiter and Gemini in the wee hours. It goes on to trine Chiron and then build to square Saturn at 11:29 a.m. And as you may know about Sagittarius energy, it's this desire for exploration and expansion. And we are in Taurus season, so you might not even be wanting to do anything crazy. You might just really be craving freedom over your own time around, there is so much that I would give just to be able to stay in bed an extra hour, to be able to walk to the coffee shop or something like that. You could just be really resisting the obligations and the responsibilities around, I don't wanna. And the moon is void after that square to Saturn. And if it's not showing up around feeling impeded from this sense of freedom, you could just feel bored looking at your to-do list and your work and your tasks and just being like, I don't wanna. You know, when we have a full moon opposing Uranus like we did a couple days ago, Uranus is rebellion energy. So there's just be this energy around, I want to rebel from my life. I want to play hooky for my life. I want to play hooky for my responsibilities. I even want a new life, right? Like sometimes the Scorpio full moon can just bring to the surface this profound desire to change and transform. And certainly some of us could be changing or transforming. We're facing the hard thing. We're facing the hard truth, the hard fear, the hard desire. But sometimes it's just a bad day. It's not a bad life. It's not that you need to move abroad and change your name and get a divorce and change your career. Like sometimes it is just your luteal phase. It could also just show up around bleh, annoying, lifey stuff. Saturn just gets so lifey sometimes around, I don't have time to do what it is that I want to do. I don't have the resources to do what it is that I want to do. I don't have the focus to do what it is that I want to do. There could just be this blah energy. And then the moon enters Capricorn at 12:58 p.m. going on to square Neptune. So the Capricorn moon energy can inspire more productivity if all morning you were just like, I don't want to. It can, but it doesn't always come from the best place. Like Capricorn moon energy could be like bullying ourselves to go send the emails and do the tasks, which I suppose sometimes we need that muscle around, let's do this. We need to send these particular emails, but sometimes it can lead us to being quite harsh on ourselves. And with the energy of the Capricorn moon squaring Neptune, be mindful of whose success you idolize or what it is that you desire. Truly, everything looks more glamorous and more alluring from far away. So if you're creeping on somebody else's Instagram, a competitor's Instagram, or let's say you're at work and you're idolizing the people who don't work, there's elements of all of us wanting what it is that we don't have to a certain extent, and we just don't know the reality of the day in and day out. It's easy to compare our lives to the idealized version of what people portray, but there's a sacrifice to everything, and everybody on this planet is dealing with their own stuff. Regardless of who in this world you feel like has the most perfect life, the most perfect existence, they're also dealing with stuff. Everybody is dealing with their lifey stuff in a different way. So be very mindful where it is that you're checking out of your life and fantasizing about another, or idealizing another, or feeling personally not enough because of the imagery that other people pursue. Stay anchored in what it is that you are building. Water your own lawn, okay? It doesn't matter if the grass looks greener over there. Water your own lawn, build what it is that you want to anchor, really, with the Taurus Sun, Capricorn Moon in the latter portion of the day. And to a practical level, you could feel a little floaty, distracted, even sensitive, being hard on yourself. Again, be very conscious what your mind is trying to convince you of this week. Because with the energy of Capricorn moon squaring Neptune, this could be conducive with that Mercury square Pluto around going down that rabbit hole when you were looking at the boxes around, I'm such a loser that I haven't even done this, or I'm not even the poet that I wanted to be. Like Neptune energy, I know we think of it as dream come true, but it can also be nightmare energy. And you could be selling yourself into a nightmare that is not rooted and grounded within reality. And with the moon in its detriment, potentially engaging in visions or in fantasies that you're selling yourself that are not conducive for being loving and compassionate and nurturing with yourself. So really contemplate, are you punishing yourself? Are you ruminating? Are you obsessing? Are you beating yourself up from the inside out? Be conscious of this. That Scorpio stinger, the Scorpio full moon, it could go out in the world towards what it is that you desire, or it could go in towards yourself and cause you to self-destruct and be incredibly hard on yourself. So just ask yourself, what is my focus point? And it's a Capricorn moon. Is this productive? Is this paying my bills? Being this hard on myself? No, let's shift our focus. Also, because this square lands at 3:55, this could also morph time a bit. Neptune has that effect where you just meant to stay in the office until 4, and then 4 becomes 5, and 5 becomes 6, and you're just gonna do this last task, and you feel like you can't walk away because you don't feel like you were productive enough. Again, with Neptune energy, things can get nebulous. So be very intentional around what you want to get done and what time you want to leave, because the to-do list will never be complete. There is always more that you could be doing. You have to set those limits for yourself. So on Friday, May 16th, happy Venus Day, the final Venus Day of a Venus ruled season, Taurus season. So please enjoy, indulge, and all of the Venusian things. Bask in the sun, bask under a tree, eat some fruit. While I'd encourage you to do all of that plus more, however it is that you connect to Venus, I will say it's not giving the most Venus-y Venus day that ever Venused, to be perfectly honest with you. The moon's in Capricorn all day, so maybe you're honoring Venus by getting to the bag, okay? Getting to the money. It's a Taurus sun, Capricorn moon. The Capricorn moon does trine Mercury in Taurus, so you could be contemplating different ways to get to the bag, and you may be prioritizing long-term gain rather than short-term pleasure. So we see at 10:45 that the Capricorn moon squares Venus and Aries, both sitting in territories that they do not like to be in and then squaring each other. And so there can be an energy where it's like, I want to stay in bed and eat fruit and bask, but I need to hit this quota, right? And sometimes that is part of it. You know, if we indulge every single desire and taste in the moment that it springs, sometimes that does take away from that hunger the hunger of the hustle. Yes, it might feel good to stay in bed and eat this croissant, and sure, there's a time and place for bed and croissants, but there just could be this energy around, this is an opportunity that I can't pass up. And yes, would it be more pleasurable to stay at home, to nap, to say no? Absolutely. But this is something that future me is going to be so grateful for. Remain hungry for the hustle. And it absolutely is a balance. Like, I think Taurus season is around remembering to slow down and enjoy the fruits of our labor. But with the Capricorn moon energy squaring Venus in Aries, remember how much you used to want opportunities that are coming to you now. Or remember how much you used to desire what it is that you are living now. Keep that top of mind. And we are building to the Uranus Cazimi that lands tomorrow. And this was baked into the full moon in Scorpio altogether, but there could be more surprises, maybe even a surprise money opportunity, something unexpected, a gig comes in that you're like, okay, I was just going to stay at home this Friday night, and part of me is tempted to stay at home and watch a movie and order some takeout and what have you. But this unexpected event to go work this last minute event is, a bag that I can't pass up. Be open to surprising opportunities and ideas. Maybe the opportunity is generated from within around, what if I did this? The Capricorn moon trining Mercury and Taurus, Uranus Cazimi over the weekend. We talk a lot about Uranus around unexpected bills, but this could also be unexpected ideas that leads to abundance. Uranus is thinking out of the box, genius type energy. So be open to ahas that come from within or opportunities that can come from around you. On Saturday, May 17th, Sun conjoins Uranus, also known as the Uranus Cazimi. And Uranus was woven into the Scorpio full moon. This is the energetic I was telling you about around shockwaves, surprises, restlessness, rebellion. And that very well may be alive within your weekend, spontaneous weekend plans, disruptions to plans, or even just this desire to do something different, to be someone different. Around recognizing this life is comfortable, there's elements of it that work for me, but what if this experience was not about being comfortable? What if this experience was about being alive? Scorpio can be that crisis energy, that do or die type energy, sink or swim, right? When something is on the line, or you get thrust into this new career, you've got to find a place to live, you got to make something happen, and you make it happen. You pull from all of you. You throw yourself into it to make it happen. And certainly, a lot of times we do so in like survival mode or fight or flight, which is not conducive to our nervous system long term. But if you feel like there's an energy where you're like, there's more to me. I've grown complacent. I've grown too comfortable within my current environment. The Uranus energy could be around, how could I do something different? How could I challenge myself in a new way? How could I step into new sides of myself that I know are there? Uranus energy can be this restlessness that just stirs up this feeling around, I'm living a life that's not my own. And it's not to say that it's not a comfortable life. It's not to say that it's not a lovely life, but something can be lovely but also not be right for you. And the Uranus Cazimi, there could be something on Saturday that just draws your awareness to something within your life that does not feel true to yourself, true to your path, true to your genius, true to your own unique way. All of our paths are so very different, and you find your path by honing into what feels real and true about you, and observing what within your life makes you feel like you need to perform or live your life at 35% of your fullest capacity. Even if it's comfortable, does not mean that it's right for you. And so you can find this weekend, not that you have to disrupt and change your whole life with the Scorpio full moon, but there can be an awakening, a desire to do something different or to show up as a different side of yourself. And something could be good. It can look good, it can even feel good, and still not be good for you. And so honoring that, and honoring the unique soul that you are, and ensuring that your life also reflects the unique spirit that you have. And the best way, especially if you feel lost, if you're listening to this and you're like, Haley, Comet, I do want change, but I don't know how to, it's coming back internal locus of control is everything. It's not looking outside for the answers, it's looking within for the answers. And you don't even need to know where exactly the path is taking you. Your only work is to take the step that is the most real and true for you right now, and trust that the next step will reveal itself, and the next step, and the next step. But I believe we step into our authentic path the more that we embrace the authentic soul that we have. So if you feel like you have to dress a certain way to fit in or to be accepted, if you feel like your personality needs to be a certain way in order to be liked, you will attract the right opportunities, the right people towards you, the more that you embrace your quirks and your eccentricities, truly. Whether it's in big and small ways, honor the spirit of spontaneity. If you want to go out today and wear a wig, wear a wig, my love. If you want to wear something that's a little wacky, if you want to go to some sort of gathering of people who like to carve wooden ducks, go for it, my love. Let your freak flag fly. When it comes to the Uranus Cazimi, I will say, as you are letting that freak flag fly, we are a little tense. You know, I gotta say it, we've got Mercury in Taurus squaring Mars in Leo tonight. So mentally, there could be a little bit of a battle. You could be feeling more stubborn. Other people may be more stubborn. This might be the sort of energy where you are snapping or quipping at other people. If this basement analogy shows up within a relationship around, oh, we don't talk about that, we don't face that, we don't address that, what happens in the basement impacts the rest of the house. What's happening in the shadows impacts what's happening in the light. What happens in the subconscious mind impacts what's happening in the conscious mind. And when it comes to relationships, if there are certain issues that are festering, it will surface in little jabs here and there, in being snippy and snappy about this, rather than just saying what it is that you're really mad at. And with Mercury squaring Mars, this could be an energy where you're speaking fighting words. Someone could be speaking fighting words with you. We could just be mentally not in the mood, impatient, potentially arguing over money, or someone feels like their ego is hurt, their pride is wounded. Be direct, clear, not vicious. You know, sometimes with Mercury squared Mars, we can go for the jugular, especially Mercury and Taurus. Taurus governs the throat. Don't go for the jugular, okay, just because you have the propensity to this weekend. And take a moment to really contemplate, what am I really mad at? I can say that it's about this person didn't empty the dishes, but I'm actually mad at something that's in the basement. There could be something like that alive, but even if this doesn't show up within a dynamic, you could just be feeling kind of snippy. You can have a little bite to your tongue. You could be firing back at, commenters, at shoppers, at the supermarket. There could just be a little bit of a bite to your tongue. So be mindful with that. And it's really interesting when we get into the lunar story, because the moon's in Capricorn for most of the day. It enters Aquarius at like 10:30 p.m. But the Capricorn moon squares Chiron in Aries. So again, the pain of feeling unfulfilled, the pain of feeling not seen, the pain of not feeling validated, the pain of not feeling good enough. Again, it's easy to lust after other people's accomplishments and success, but that can take you away from watering your own grass, or even just doing one or two things that will improve your life rather than idealizing someone else's life. It's very easy when we're in times of turmoil and crisis to sometimes look outside of ourselves and just want anybody's life other than our own. But the Uranus Cazimi is like, hey, this is the life assignment that I got, so how can I make it the best that it can possibly be and the truest that it possibly can be? This is echoed by the Capricorn moon trining Uranus, trining the sun, right? Trining that Uranus Cazimi. What's one thing I can do that tomorrow me will be grateful for? I can ruminate about the past, I can fear the future, but what's one thing I can do to just set myself up in a positive trajectory? I might be a little grumpy as I do it, okay, with the Mercury square Mars energy building, but what's one thing I can do that tomorrow me will be grateful for? And the Capricorn moon also sextiles who it's answering to, Saturn in Pisces. That happens at 9:27 p.m. So Saturday may be a day that you get randomly inspired to do certain housework that you've been putting off or avoiding, or maybe with Uranus, you're like, why don't I wallpaper this room with cheetah print? Or like do something to make my home funky, like a true reflection of me. or you could be prioritizing financial matters, material matters, something like this. The moon is void for about an hour until it enters Aquarius at 10:30-ish, which draws our awareness to our connections, our friendships, our humanitarian visions. On Sunday, May 18th, this is the day that Jupiter in Gemini sextiles Chiron in Aries. But I want to let you know that this vibration is not limited to Sunday, May 18th. You have access to this energy this entire week, and also as it separates next week as well. And sextiles are a soft flow of energy. It's an opportunity aspect, but this is an opportunity you're going to want to take. Knowledge can be healing. Knowing something can be healing. Jupiter in Gemini, sextile Chiron in Aries. It requires courage to know something, to face something. It will set you free, especially if you feel paralyzed by what it is that you don't know or what it is that you are not facing. Knowledge can be healing, and even being willing to be curious around our own wounds and our own triggers can be helpful, because we will try to find every single avoidance strategy around, I don't want to go through it, I don't want to face it, so how can I go around it, right? We will try to metaphorically get the battery operated lights in order to avoid going down into the basement. We do this within our life as well, coping strategies that really don't align for us. Me arbitrarily deciding that I was done with EMDR and that I was going to give myself 3 more times and just like muscle my way through it. And I'm not suggesting that everybody needs to go to therapy or everybody needs EMDR. Like I said, we've got a Uranus Cazimi. Everybody's journey is unique and it is their own. What's right for me may not be what's right for you. What's your path may not be my path. And the moment it got hard and it felt endless and bottomless, and I'm like, will I ever get to the other side? It's like my avoidance kicked in, where it's like, let's get out of that. Let's wrap this up. Okay, let's wrap this up. That was fun and games. Cool. Yay. We uncovered some stuff, but let's not go any deeper. Let's wrap it up. Let's wrap it up. But things unfold at their own pace, and it takes a lot of courage to be hurting and raw and vulnerable and open and curious. You know, sometimes we do learn a lot in those spaces where we have been deeply hurt. And sometimes dealing with things that are uncomfortable to face does create the pathway forward to healing, because what we are not processing, we are delaying. It's not that it's out of sight, out of mind. It's simply delaying it to come up at a later time. And so however it is that you are showing up for your healing, or even just being open to new strategies in order to cope, to deal with the pain. Jupiter and Gemini could be researching on different ways to manage certain symptoms that you are experiencing, finding a support group of other people who are going through something similar, learning from other stories from people who are going through something similar, or even just giving yourself the space to be curious about the parts of you that may be a little bit more raw and tender, right? The parts of you that may have been a little bit more so in the darkness because it was scary to bring them to light. But if you bring them to light, whether it's an uncomfortable conversation around something that hurt you or wounded you, an uncomfortable acknowledgement around a part of you, a little version of you that needs support and tender love and care, an element of your life that you recognize is perpetually keeping you in a state of pain, with the energy of Jupiter and Gemini, you may benefit from having certain conversations about it, learning about it, being curious around it, or even to free yourself from something that can be painful. Maybe this is ripping the Band-Aid off around going through the belongings and finally sorting out what you are going to donate and what you are going to keep. It hurts, but it also frees you because you faced it. You know what's in the box. And with Jupiter sextile Chiron, there's something around knowledge is power. And it could be painful knowledge or receiving certain information of something that is a bit of an ouch, but helps you understand what it is that you're moving through, or a conversation that's uncomfortable but provides a pathway towards healing. But there's an energy around knowing what is hurting or what is wounded or what is raw or what is vulnerable is the first step to healing it. And Sunday's astrology is a bit intense. I will say the moon's in Aquarius, so you could be kind of in the cerebral mind state. The Aquarius moon does sextile Neptune in Aries. So maybe this is even showing up for some of you around giving yourself a reading where you're like, wow, that hurts to see the cards laid out like this. But that also gives me a perspective where I feel seen, and it provides me more clarity clarity around what I'm moving through. Or maybe some of you feel called out by looking at a certain aspect within your astrology chart or reading a passage in a book where you're like, I feel called out, like, ouch, a little bit, but also, wow. There could be moments like that because the Aquarius moon also conjoins Pluto, which can speak to intensity of emotions, yes, but also wanting to intellectualize it with this energy in Aquarius. And that evening, the Aquarius moon will sextile Venus in Aries. So you could have had a weird weekend. You know, Uranus energy can sometimes present some events that you did not anticipate nor expect, but it feels like it's ending on a note where at least you're able to laugh over a good meal about the bizarre events that may have unfolded. So my loves, that is our week. The Magic Monday mantra of the week is, I maintain my focus. Life is going to pull you in all sorts of directions. When we have a Uranus sort of week, there's all sorts of things that can throw you for a loop, that can knock you off course, that can disrupt your equilibrium. There's a lot of things that could happen where you're like, what is even going on? What is even happening right now? And of course, it's natural to have that moment where you lose your balance and you're like, okay, what? But what's important is what comes right after that. Is if you decide that you're going to allow the events of the world to have your focus and attention knocked around like a ping pong ball, or if you decide that you're going to remind yourself, I'm in control of me, and I'm going to redirect my focus to what I can control. I can't control the weather. I can't control the traffic. I can't control the technical difficulties. There's lots in life that we cannot control. And we will panic and obsess and leak out our power the more that we try to control what we cannot control. Looking at you, Mercury square Pluto at the beginning of the week. Again, try to fix certain issues if they come up. Try to generate solutions if something occurs. But you gotta pull your focus back to what it is that you can control. You are in control of you. And seeing rather than letting the fear of what you cannot control take over, the paranoia of what you have not faced take over, see where it is you could take one step at a time to make progress within your solution around what is in my control. I can't control the electricity, but I can pick up my phone and call an electrician. I cannot control what in this life has hurt me, what has wounded me, what has traumatized me with this Chiron aspect this week. But I can control if I invest mental energy in learning coping strategies, if I am bold enough to face how that may be impacting my daily reality, to communicate with others, especially those I'm in close interpersonal connections with, around how my Chiron impacts our dynamic. We cannot control a lot within life. And when things happen that are out of our control, it can make us feel powerless, but you are more powerful than you realize. The Scorpio Full Moon wants you to remember that. So our emoji of the week this week will be, drum roll as I think about it, we're gonna go pineapple. We're gonna go pineapple because my juice was absolutely amazing. So if you made it to the end of the forecast, go ahead and drop below the pineapple emoji or use the word pineapple within a sentence. My Instagram handle is @HaleyCometAstrology. My TikTok is the same. I would so love to connect with you over there. Thank you so much for bearing with me and this crooked forecast. Let me know if it looks crooked on your end. I don't even know. I'm in a wonky mood. My camera is giving wonky. I'm just happy to be here. And I'm happy that you were here as well. Thanks for navigating this wonky astrology with me. But I'll see you again, same time, same place next week. But until then, drink lots of water and stay positive.